Thank you. It's a great pleasure to be here in a kind of double role. On one side I'm a designer, on the other side I'm a consumer, and I think that means I and a person have a double responsibility. So the title of my presentation is Dress to Success, and at the moment we can dress packaging to success. I think we should start first. Of course I'm Dutch, just a short explanation, but the issue is try to dare to be different, and daring to be different is an absolutely need in order to change processes. And I take you along on a small journey. At the moment that you have to act as a designer or a consumer, you have the opportunity to act in a different way. But at the moment you do that, once you start acting different, then keep that lane, because the challenge is to go ahead in that lane and not going back. People can be different. For example, in a short time, sport people can be very famous. That is the Dutch skating team in the last Olympics. But people can also be different. When I come here in the Rhineland or in Venice, people make themselves for a few days completely different, and then they go back to the old role. So I think that is not the way how to be different. Or this lady, for example, is quite different by her tattoos, but they last some longer. In the world of food, we see the same developments. We see people doing kind of nanotechnology in the kitchen, for example, but on the other hand, the consumption of Italian coffee in a cup that you can eat afterwards is really there to be different and to do something different. In housing, we have seen Hundertwasser in Vienna, who made houses in the late 50s. They were completely different, and people start living there, and they build their own communities, loving these type of houses. But on the other hand, in Korea, you have a holiday house in which two people who are in love live together. So they dare really to be different. In the world of branding, in which we are talking today, we see also that difference. These are the very early advertisements for air transport, for people transport. When you look today at the big carriers and the cheap carriers, we see a completely different way of communication. In the sense of consumer products, you see here a bottle of water that costs about 70 euros. And it is sold in Saint-Emilion in France, beside the shops where they sell the most expensive wines. And the one who invented this said, at the moment you buy a very expensive wine, you can afford yourself also a very expensive bottle of water. But anyway, it is a bottle of water, nothing more and nothing less, but people want to pay for that. On the other hand, we see the reaction of the society. Of course, sometimes we are forbidden to communicate with certain products, and as we see smoking, we have seen here, for example, Marlboro, but with Cameron it is the same. They invent new products and new channels to communicate their basic products, but they need an escape in communication. The consumer itself is also changing at the moment. I think it is a very big move, and it fits in all we hear today. For example, if you know this, probably the LOHAS movement is an organization that has a life of health and sustainability. That is the abbreviation of it. That means that a comfortable life and sustainability can work together, and it is the new generation of consumers. We see the same in the development of a few years, let's say 20 years. We came from a global acting world of branding, and we are going back to the local roots of products and of brands. A few samples about what we did to create products that are different from the normals. We made paint for food. This is paint for food. You just make a stick, you have a pencil and you paint it red, and in the red it is a color pigment that has an additional nutrition fact. But anyway, you can make your food completely different by giving it color in a certain way. Color or coat, whatever you want to call it. This is about the blackberries. We work for a blackberry company in Holland, and they asked us, can we do something with the waste? And we came up ourselves with a very small bottle with a blackberry shot, like we have Red Bull shots, for example. And on the other hand, we see a product my colleague there made in Finland, and he made a power powder out of the blackberries, and you just pour the power in your yogurt, and you use the waste of food in a different way. This is an example, and people say he went crazy, and in a certain way it was. These are energy drinks for pets. We use materials in order to create products to make pets happy. Of course it is ridiculous, but on the other hand, when you use it to reduce the number of wasted materials and you put it in an other chain, it is actually an addition in the chain. This is a product also made by my colleague upstairs, René, and he made a calvados that was forbidden in France because it was called calvados, and he came up with the idea that I call it, no, this is not calvados. I think that is a good trick to come in a new market. The figure on the right hand side is the way how we work with a few people in which what we call, as you see, the brand anarchist. We go to major brands on the highest level and we try to get in the board to tell them that they should change their life. It turned out that we are kicked out about 95% of the times when we come to companies because they say, what the hell are you doing? But the other 5% say, interesting. Let's start a discussion, see what we can do to become different, to do that in a really way. Here you see Red Bull, for example, the Black Booster can. We did in the 80s. There were no energy drinks at that time. At that time, an energy drink was forbidden by law because there was taurine in it. But we developed at that time Black Booster for a Swiss company, and afterwards they got famous with it. And years later, it was Red Bull who followed, and today we have a lot of products similar, of course. These products are non-existing products, but probably solutions for the future. At the moment you introduce nanotechnology to your mayonnaise and you pour the mayonnaise over your fried fries and there is no mayonnaise on the spoon, that would be an invention of how you could better make the products. The soup is the same issue, it's made by insects, and the oil is made by algae. It is the future, of course, but at the moment you find people and companies who want to dare to join that preparation, it's great. This is one of the most simple solutions we ever did. It was a small bakery in my village where I live, and they had no budget and they had no ideas. And the company was called by his father Aroma. And I say when you are a bakery and you use the term as aroma, it's quite scientific and it is not about emotion. And he had no money, so the only thing I did, I changed the order of the types, and that way it became from Aroma Amora. And the emotion about the brand Amora was far more and far different from what they did. And he started, due to the new name, also to invent new products, and he made now all kind of different stuff never seen before. Last sample of what we did is, you see here oysters. With nanotechnology we made oysters, we concentrated them, we put them in a shell of pigmented materials, and the pigments, the bullets are covered with a pigment, and the pigment has an additional function in the food chain. For example, there's magnesium oxide in it, so that is good for the body. But anyway, we changed the shape, we changed the form of the oyster, and we made a new product out of it. How do you become different? I think act different if you really want to move forward. It means sometimes being kicked out, sometimes being asked, but anyway, do things in a different way. Finally, dare to be yourself and to be different. How? By being completely transparent, because at the moment you change patterns in companies and in brands, you have to do it in a quite open, cooperational way. So about behavior, about the system you work, the quality and the culture, all these issues are very important. What does it mean for here and today and safe food? I think sustainability was a few years ago something that you were awarded for. I think the next step is that being not sustainable is a crime and you should be in prison. So I think that move is important. Never do things quite alone. Do them in cooperation, make them part of a system, so in a cooperation you will have more profit, I think. Dare to innovate. That's also an idea that innovation is always said to be done because we have existing systems and we want to continue them. I think you better skip the old system and try to find something from really the basic new. If the brand is a hero, then act as a hero. What we see with Coca-Cola, they are changing from bottle. There was a bio-based plastic bottle now invented. So I think you have as a brand a responsibility. At the moment you change your way, then also, and you are a brand hero, behave like a hero. In sense of communication, what we heard before, I think putting 17 languages on a candy bar in order to tell what is in it, I think it is a better way to use the candy bar as a communication tool. Skip the languages and try to bring the information in a different way. For us as designers, it means that we have to move from just design to kind of shared responsibility. At the moment a client asks you to make the 27th cup of yogurt, then ask him why he wants to invent a new yogurt, and if that is the way. So you have a different role in the process. Last year we did a presentation with EBDA in Prague, I remember, and there was the CEO of Novicar in France, and he said to the designing community, stop designing, start thinking. And I think the design community can take that role, and at the moment we dare to take that role and we dare to be different, I think we have the challenge to support an initiative like saving food by design and communication is absolutely a challenge. That was my contribution for today, changing a mindset, I hope. Thank you.